Hi, GLTD family. As you know, I read a lot of books, not only for school, but I just read books in general because they bring me great joy and pleasure. And growing up, my father had monitored my TV, so I didn't grow up watching a lot of TV. Like MTV was not allowed in our house, right? So I grew up reading a lot of books. And so when I see a book and I look at it on a shelf and it speaks to me, I get it. And I don't always read it right away, but it seems like when I do read it, it's the perfect time. So there's this book called The Little Book of Talent, 52 Tips for Improving Your Skills by Daniel Coyle. And you know how we always talk in poems and abstracts, which is great and beautiful. But every once in a while, you got to bring some of the rational thinking into it. And I love this book because it talks about the rational, the tangible steps that you can take to change your life. And it's divided into several parts. And one of the first part talks about getting started. So what are some practical steps if you're wanting to have changes in your life? If there's something that you've always wanted to do, what are some of the steps? Well, to get started, this is the first tip. Tip number 1, stare at who you want to become. Get to know the life of what you want to become. If there's someone, whether it be in a book or a movie, something that has, some factual basis to it about the life that you want, magazines, stare at it. Kind of feel what it's like. And then imagine yourself in that position. Write it. Let it become real. I love that. And I love, there's a couple things in this book, but here's one. It says, we each live with a windshield of people in front of us. Studies show that even a brief connection with a role model can vastly increase unconscious motivation. For example, if you're told that you share a birthday with a mathematician, then the amount you're willing to put into solving a mathematical problem improves to 62%. I know that I share a couple birthdays with some famous people. I think Albert Einstein's one of them. It always makes me feel smarter for some reason. Not necessarily if it's true, but... and then tip number 2. Spend 15 minutes a day engraving the skill on your brain. You're not going to get the new skill just reading about it. Yes, you can imagine it. You can see yourself doing it. But you have to practice the skill. No matter what you've been reading about prodigies or people who are born with talent, they practice the skill. Beethoven, Mozart, all of them, most of them were younger siblings or children of prodigies, or I shouldn't say prodigies, or talented people. So they not only got this environment where they heard the music, but then they practiced it every day. Tip number 3, steal without an apology. I get so many ideas when I do my art by looking at other art. And it may not be a piece of art as far as work. It may be in a magazine. It may be in an advertisement for furniture. The colors, everything just, appeals to me, and I could put that together in a clipboard or a box and then bring it out to give me good ideas. Some of the most famous people do that. Twyla Tharp, the dancer. A lot of photographers do that. They have to, because they always have to keep this cadre of things available to them. Okay, buy a notebook. Tip number 4. I have one in my purse. I carry it with me all the time. Tip number 5, which is the most important, I think, be willing to be stupid. For some of it, like me, that comes naturally. I don't really care if people laugh at me, but the more you're willing to be embarrassed and vulnerable, the more you're going to go for your dream. Okay. Tip number 6, choose Spartan over luxurious. If you have everything that makes you comfortable, why would you change? I'll just sum it up like that. Tip number 7 through 9 talk about what you wanted to do. Is it a soft skill or a hard skill? A hard skill would be like building a house. A soft skill would be putting books together on a shelf. Just kind of decide, what, I don't know, is that a good idea? that a good example? I think that's a good example. Right. So it talks about, a hard skill is building a house. So if you have to have something hard and precise, that's a hard skill. Whereas the soft skills are things that are flexible. Like if you're a novelist, right, and you read books to sharpen your skill, it's not really hard. Or listening to music if you're wanting to be a singer, right? Okay. And then knowing which of those skills you need more of, that's how you're going to focus. If it's hard skills, you're going to be more mathematical, more precise. If it's soft skills, you're going to do things like maybe skateboarding or jumping rope to music that you like. So it's totally different. And the last one for this section, which it's another good one that I think is really good, is 5 ways to pick a high quality teacher or coach. When you're looking for something good to do, or you're learning something, the student is there, the teacher will appear, and vice versa. So these are really funny. Not funny, but things that I wouldn't think of to look for in a mentor. 1, avoid someone who reminds you of a courteous waiter. If things are going too smoothly, if they cover a lot of material, if they say don't worry, this is a nice person to have in a restaurant, but not someone who's going to teach you a hard or soft skill. 2, seek someone who scares you a little. Why? How? Because they're going to be watching you closely. They're going to try to figure out what you're really interested in. They're action-oriented. They're not going to spend a lot of time talking to you. They're going to get you to move. They're honest, sometimes to the point where you're like, they hurt my feelings. So honest, not like they're trying to discourage you, but honest like they're trying to coach you. 3, seek someone who gives short, clear directions, which is so true. If you tell me how to do something, it takes you 20 minutes to tell me, I'm not going to do it. 4, seek someone who loves teaching fundamentals. That is so true. Like when I teach English as a second language, I love it. I love seeing the expression on the students' faces when they get something. I love the building blocks of teaching. 5, other things being equal, pick the older person. Why? Teaching is like any other talent. It takes time to grow. That is why so many hotbeds are led by people in their 60s and 70s. Great teachers are first and foremost learners who improve their skills with each passing year. Wow. Okay, so this is a section all about how you get started with the skills. Very, very interesting. I hope this helps you. If there's something that you're working on, I hope this helped greenlight your day to get you motivated and to get going. Talk to you guys later. Bye.